Hi skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
I'm Bob, how's it going?
Welcome to another episode of our Top 5 Fridays ski industry news videos. Bob, guess what episode this is?
47.
50!
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah, I think. If I'm wrong, then next one's 50 or something. But yeah, pretty amazing that we've done 50 of these. Started them in my basement during the COVID lockdown. Yeah. Now here we are. This is always kind of what I imagined they could be. So it's exciting to get to this.
Out of the basement.
Yeah, out of the basement. We've been out of the basement for a while, I suppose. So yeah, just get right into the news, I suppose. Bob, you have some unique anecdotal information about this athlete, which we'll get to. But to start off, we have some ski racing news, as we often have in the ski season. Not always in the off season, but it's always exciting when we do. Ryan Cochran-Siegle, we're happy to report, is back on snow. So we had an article or a piece of news out of skiracing.com just kind of announcing that he was back on snow, which is really exciting. If you recall from this past season, Ryan was kind of in and out of the news a lot. He kind of first caught our attention in a press conference. He basically cited that he had like a let it all hang out attitude or mindset going into the season. He didn't want to like limit himself, every run. He just wanted to just give it his all. No hesitations. Yeah. Just didn't care what happened. Just gonna leave it all out there. And then later in the season, he picked up his first ever World Cup win, which was exceptionally exciting. And then unfortunately, that kind of let it all hang out mentality seemed to catch up to him with a crash in Kitzbühel and a fractured C7 vertebrae, which is like that one.
Yeah.
The lowest one on your neck.
None of those are good.
None of the neck, yeah. When breaking a neck is not good. Fortunately for Ryan, it was about as good as breaking your neck can be. And this week we received news that he's back on snow. He's out in Mammoth with the rest of the U.S. team. They did kind of specifically say he's just free skiing and kind of doing like some developmental drills, which for a World Cup ski racer probably means he's skiing better than me.
Probably going pretty fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how his recovery goes, how he skis through the summer. Next season's an Olympic year, which is kind of unfortunate to have an injury going into the training off season before a big season. But yeah, I'm hopeful that he can make a full recovery and have a really successful season next year. It'll also be interesting to see how he kind of adapts that like let it all hang out attitude. Maybe he'll rein that back in depending on the venue. And Bob, you've known Ryan Cochran-Siegle for a long time.
He must have been 14 or 15. So I was a teacher at the Mount Mansfield Winter Academy, and he was one of my students. And kind of the way it works there is that you tutor these kids in their academic discipline, and and you get farther ahead so they can travel and ski race. And one of the reasons why kids are good is because they're never in class. So if they're never in class, that means that they're competing on a pretty high level of ski racing.
Right.
So I didn't get to see Ryan a whole lot, but he was always a diligent worker and did a great job. And like a lot of these kids that I used to teach, it was always heartbreaking to see them get hurt because how hard they work and how much they put into it, and just how like small that between letting it hang out and
totally
and being more calculated. Yeah. Like there's such a small room margin,
especially for a ski racer,
and especially for a speed skier.
Yeah,
like for injuries. Like they're just the potential for catastrophe at the speed level is a lot different than it is at the tech level.
Totally.
So it's just, and it's also cool seeing like an Eastern kid just kind of come out of nowhere and hit the speed circuit and do really well.
Yeah.
We just don't always have the same, training venues and opportunities that Western skiers have for speed events. So really impressive to see Ryan coming out of here and being on the national and world level stage.
Great speed training out there in Mammoth.
That's what I always see and hear.
Yeah. I lived in Mammoth for a year, and they had the downhill course. I can't remember what event it was for, but they had it groomed out. Normally it's an ungroomed, just like it's like a pretty mellow bowl, but it's off the top. But it was pretty fun skiing it when it was groomed. You know, you just bomb. And then it like really flattens out at the bottom, so it's like, you know, gliding is really important.
Yeah.
But
no, those World Cup courses are pretty crazy to ski, to just free ski. I can't imagine putting a speed suit on you know, race conditions and really going for it. I just can't imagine.
Yeah, so good luck to Ryan Cochran-Siegle. If you're watching this, Bob says hi, I assume. And good luck to your training and recovery out there in Mammoth. Second topic of the week, Bob, this is one that you and I were just chatting about before we started filming. In an article from Travel Weekly, they're crediting COVID-19 with a widening of skiing's demographics in this past season. So increasing or diversifying the skiing demographics is something that we've talked about multiple different times here on Top 5 Fridays, just in the general sense that it's a healthy thing to do for the sport and just society in general to get as many people involved in skiing as we can. And yeah, Travel Weekly is giving a lot of credit to COVID-19 for kind of causing that to happen this season. So in the past year, most indoor activities were closed. You know, like you couldn't go to the movies or
lots of stuff.
Bowling. Lots of things were closed, which kind of encouraged people to find new outdoor activities, and a lot of people turned to skiing. So pretty cool to see. This article had some statistics, which Bob and I both thought were pretty noteworthy. This kind of new demographic of skiers are less wealthy. The statistic that they had were that 59% came from an income level below $100,000 a year, which is up from 54% of new skiers last year.
Yeah.
So not a huge change, but 5% is substantial. That's statistically significant.
Yeah, and that they're choosing to spend their money that way too.
Yeah.
If you're kind of on that cusp of you know, having enough to start this new expensive sport, that they're following through with it. You know, like that. I think that that's noteworthy. Right.
And then another statistic that really jumped out at us is 34% of new skiers were non-white, which was up from 29% the year before, which I think Bob and I kind of both thought felt high. You know, I wish it was higher.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be great if that was up closer to 50%. But I think you have to think about it like new skiers.
Right.
You know, 100% new skiers, people totally new to sport, and in that sense, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that we've been talking about for a while. Just how do you introduce the sport to a more diverse audience? I don't think anybody said the solution was global pandemic.
Right.
But here we are.
You know, that combined with the lower seasons pass prices that we've seen, and just kind of, you know, and more, I don't want to call it marketing, but I guess it's marketing.
No, and that's something that we've talked about in these videos multiple times before, is the ski industry is trying to do a better job marketing to a more diverse audience.
Yeah. So it looks like it's working.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to see. And hopefully these new participants in a unique pandemic season, you know, hopefully they liked it enough that they're going to continue skiing as we get back to a more normal living situation.
I mean, it sure seemed like everyone that was out here at Stowe this year was having a great time.
Yeah.
You know, you could definitely tell that difference in the clientele.
I think those people will be back.
Yeah.
And then third topic of the week, this is an interesting one that's kind of surrounding or revolving around ski patrollers, specifically to unionize or not to unionize. And this kind of sparked us to look back at a topic earlier in the winter when Hunter Mountain was forced to close. So I don't know if you remember this, Bob, but
I only got, it was very hush-hush.
It was,
I got all of my information from social media, which you probably should never do.
Yeah.
But that was the only place I could find, but everyone, at any rate, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so essentially Hunter Mountain was forced to close for 2 days because they had a lack of ski patrollers, and that was a
Yeah.
result of a COVID outbreak, not like a drastic amount of cases, but enough. Their ski patrol staff is pretty small.
Right.
So they had an outbreak among patrollers that those patrollers couldn't work, and then they reached out to their volunteer ski patrollers, and pretty much all of them said no, basically because they had some compensation or assets taken away from them. Specifically in Vail gave them less lift ticket vouchers to give to friends and family.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the incentive to be a volunteer ski patrol, is you would get some lift ticket vouchers.
Right.
And they took those away, so these patrollers were kind of like, no, we're not going to maybe come get COVID.
Right.
And we don't think you're treating us very fairly. So it kind of sparked a conversation about ski patrollers in general, whether they're being compensated fairly, and kind of just some growing tensions between ski patrollers and resort owners.
Yeah.
And then this week, patrollers in Breckenridge voted 43 to 42 in favor of unionizing, which is pretty significant. That's the first time that's happened with ski patrollers. And they basically, same thing, they kind of cited a frustration with Vail's recognition of their work and unfair compensation. Kind of talked a lot about working overtime hours and not being compensated fairly for it. Breck, or a spokesperson from Breck, I can't remember exactly who it was, they did put out a statement saying that they were kind of disappointed about it, and that they were also disappointed in the sense that about 30 people didn't vote, so almost 2/3 of their ski patrollers didn't vote in favor of unionizing.
Yeah.
The vote still went through in favor, but Breck was kind of like, hey, look at all these people that didn't favor this.
Right.
So it's gonna be, it's setting an interesting precedent going forward. Interestingly, about a month ago, the same exact vote in Keystone, which is practically just Breckenridge 2.
Right, it's just the next mountain over.
They're in my mind, they're pretty much the same thing. You just gotta go like that. The vote lost 35 to 34. So super close votes in both areas, but interesting that it passed in one and not in the other. What do you think, Bob?
I think that they should be compensated more.
Yeah.
They should.
I
A lot
agree.
of these people have EMT certifications, the same certification that you would have to work on an ambulance.
Right.
And they do it on skis. So
Right.
there's this whole other level of a need for a professional in a ski patrol field.
It's a highly skilled trade.
And then out west, they're using explosives and
Right.
have a whole new host of things that we don't really have to deal with here.
Right.
But we have our own set of challenges. So there's got to be some middle ground. I don't know if unionizing is the right way to go for them, but but if that's the only way that they can get management to the table and
Right.
renegotiate, then
That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
Is they felt like this was kind of like the last straw. All right, this is what we're gonna have to do.
right.
I agree 100%. I think ski patrollers are pretty much the most important employees on a mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be a little bit biased because I've been, ski patrollers essentially have saved my life a couple
Right.
times. So, I value ski patrollers very high. And I think it's just going to be interesting to see what comes of this.
Yeah.
Is there going to be just a giant union of ski patrollers? I don't know. Is this going to become the norm? Are ski patrollers going to be independent contractors? Who knows? There's all sorts of different ways that this could go. So certainly very interesting and certainly one to watch.
Yeah. I feel like they should get paid what they're worth for
Yeah.
for sure, and throw them some family passes.
Yeah, give them some family passes for sure. Give those volunteer ski patrollers some passes.
Yeah.
And then last topic of the week. This one's pretty lighthearted and fun. We looked up the pronunciation. I'm probably gonna get it wrong.
It's knee.
Our audience knows how bad I am at pronouncing names. James Niehues.
Yeah.
Yes. If you don't know James Niehues, he drew the ski area trail map that you looked at last time.
Yeah.
Chances are he did. He's a very well-known artist that is known best for extremely detailed, hand-painted trail maps.
He draws every tree individually.
Every single tree.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, every tree is unique.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like a tree stamp
No.
that he's just like stamping all over the place. Every single tree is unique. We have a few James Niehues posters around the Ski Essentials offices.
Yeah.
I've always really enjoyed his art. It makes it like really fun
Yep.
to like explore a trail map
Yep.
because it is hand painted. It's not just like something that was like, you know, a photograph or like a topo map or something.
Yeah.
There's a human element to it, which I have always really liked. Anyway, to the actual news, he has announced a new project to illustrate 50 of America's most iconic national parks. So not really skiing related, but kind of skiing related in the sense that he is ski related.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be really cool. He's calling it the American Landscape Project. Basically his method is that he goes up in a helicopter, takes some aerial photos, takes those photos back to his studio, and starts drawing all those trees.
Yeah. It's crazy. If you watch, that should have been one of the edits of the week, was a little thing of him drawing the trail map.
Yeah.
And we had a good collection of trail maps growing up, and I love maps and skiing, so it's natural that I'd gravitate towards something like that.
My brother loved maps.
Yeah.
We had a lot of maps in our household growing up.
Yeah, and I was just always just incredibly impressed at how detailed his were.
Yeah.
And they just have a different look and a feel than other artists. I don't even know if there's another, he's like the Bob Ross of ski trail map drawing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean, if there's a coffee table book of the American Landscape Project, just sign me up right now. I'll pay for it right now.
I mean, he's got the trail map book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like same kind of thing with this, I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
So really cool to see. I'm excited to see how that turns out. And then lastly, we have our edits of the week, as we often do. First up is like an 18-minute long, the ultimate highlight mixtape from Audi 9s. We've shared a few different Audi 9s highlight videos over the past couple weeks. The event is insane. Did you watch any Audi 9s footage from this?
I can't.
This
my
season?
brain doesn't comprehend it. I don't understand how
too many angles and stuff.
No, I don't understand how they get to that point where, the one that does like the double front flip or the triple front flip off like the 100-foot jump is the one that.
From last year, like
is that from last year?
That's from last year.
It's just like that stuff. I can't get my brain around.
You should watch some of this year's. Maybe you should go watch this first edit of the week, Bob.
All right.
Because I think this year's feature was. Not down to earth, but it was a little bit smaller. Like the athletes themselves weren't going as big. Like the feature itself, I think, was as big, and like if you measured it in like volume of snow, I think it was probably just as big, if not bigger. But the way that they built everything, people weren't going like massive. Like there was a triple backflip this year, but it was pretty fast triple backflip as opposed to that triple front flip that you're thinking of with the stretched out Superman in the middle of it.
That's the one.
Yeah, like people were going huge in past. There were some quad corks done at Audi 9s in past years and stuff. This year, I think, it encouraged more creativity from the skiers and riders, which I thought was really cool. There was a little bit of backlash, or maybe backlash isn't the right word, but I saw some comments on social media and stuff that were kind of like, that's it? Like, you guys didn't build a bigger jump? But, like, they built a castle out of snow.
I know. The construction of that thing is almost more impressive than the skiing itself.
Totally. They spend longer building it than the amount of time that people spend skiing and snowboarding on it.
I definitely geek out more on the construction.
The build videos.
The build videos.
Well, the beginning of this ultimate highlight is some build footage. So
all right.
there
I
you go.
That stuff.
Second, this is from One Cut Media on YouTube. It's a compilation of sketchy entrances, which I think are all in Whistler. And I recognized a couple of them as places that I personally had been and done that same, like, kind of, mountain goat style
Yeah.
traverse to get into something. Pretty entertaining. None of them were like crazy. I've definitely seen sketchier entrances, like rappelling into something.
Right.
There weren't any ropes involved in this, so still pretty sketchy at times.
It's fun seeing lift access sketchy entrances.
Totally, yeah, and there's a lot of that at Whistler, which is one of my favorite things about that mountain. And then the third edit of the week is from Red Bull. It's mountain bike downhill versus snowboard. So basically 2 mountain bike athletes and 2 snowboard athletes. Pretty sure it's at Snowshoe. Yeah, almost certain it's at Snowshoe. I don't know why I can't remember that or didn't write it down. But it was kind of like it's that transition period where there's still a little bit of snow left on the mountain, but you can also ride downhill mountain bike trails. And they did some unbelievable filming. Anything from Red Bull, you're going to get like really top-notch cinematography. There's like some unbelievable shots of 4 humans flying through the air together, and 2 of them are on mountain bikes and 2 of them are on snowboards.
They didn't switch and try the other discipline at all?
No, I don't think so. But I'll give you a bonus edit of the week, which may have not been in the last week. But Marcus Cleveland, professional snowboarder, he put out an edit on his YouTube channel where he went skiing for a day, and he's better than me, which is a little bit disappointing. He might not be 100% better than me, but really, really good. He did like double cork 1260s and sort of double cork 1080s and like all sorts of stuff. But he's a professional snowboarder at the top of his game, so it's not like tremendously surprising, but still really cool to watch.
I like the crossover stuff.
I do too. And you may see some crossover stuff from Ski Essentials next year as we are selling more and more snowboards.
Yeah.
So
you won't see me on a snowboard.
I'm going to try real hard. If you want to see Bob on a snowboard, leave a comment asking Bob to go snowboarding next year.
It's not good. I can put on all my hockey stuff and go.
Yeah, there you go. That's fine. It'll be fine. Just don't land on your wrists.
All right.
That's it for Top 5 Fridays this week. Thanks as always for joining us. Bob, you doing anything exciting this weekend?
Soccer game Sunday with the kids. So
there you go.
Get the spring sports rolling.
There's a little snow up on the mountains still, and I did just get a text message from somebody that was along the lines of, "Do you think we could build a jump in this spot?" And so
yes.
Maybe I'll do some skiing this weekend. We'll see, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.